Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cindy. This is for May 2nd. First of all, thank you very, very much for being here and being part of the Soulprint community. I very much appreciate it. Quick note for those of you who may be looking for a personal reading, I am actually currently booking. I have some availability next week and after that. So I'm pretty wide open if you're looking for a personal reading. In the Dropbox below is an email address, soulprint888 at gmail.com. Just send me an email and I will send you the information you need. Today, I want to take a look at simply the month of May in the United States. There is so much sort of crazy stuff going on right now. You've got this fight about the debt ceiling that I can't see how Kevin McCarthy's going to win that. He's using this ridiculous thing about, well, if you give a kid a credit card and they rack up the credit card bill, you don't increase their credit. And even, conservatives are looking at him and saying, that's not how that's not how the debt ceiling works. This is money you've already spent. You have to pay for it. It's not about increasing. And, maybe that's just part of the phraseology, right? You're not really, yeah, you end up increasing the debt ceiling, but the idea is that you're trying to pay for what you already owe. I don't see that him winning that. And Biden's dug in, and good for Biden. Speaking of which, he has officially announced his run for the next election, so that's exciting news. Um, you got Marjorie Taylor Greene just making a complete ass of herself every time she opens her mouth. She's saying unbelievably rude and insulting things to people that she has no cause to be rude and insulting to. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know if this is about, clickbait, if she's just saying things so that little snippet gets, I don't know, circulated on social media. I don't know what her story is, but really she needs to sit down and shut up. Um, I have a request, please, for people who live in Georgia, and I know that I have viewers who live there, and you're all amazing people who slowly but surely are, putting Democrats in office. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, if I've got it right, is the House representative in the 14th congressional district. She has been, um, I guess, since 2021. If you live in Georgia, could you please explain to me what people in Georgia think of her? And think of her antics. And I mean across the board. I just don't mean sort of the Democrats who are appalled by her, but I also mean the Republicans who voted her in. So if there's some of you out there, I just need some clarity on what her problem is because it's kind of getting to the place where it's sort of bugging me. All right. So for the month of May, there's a lot of kind of energy stuff going on. I know there's like this, what is it, the solar eclipse in Scorpio on the 6th of May. Like there's a lot of stuff just astrologically, which I don't understand, going on, but it does feel like it's sort of pivotal. But this is kind of a month where we're going to start feeling some significant shifts and changes. So I want to look at the overview for um, the United States for the month of May, particularly focusing on, I want to specifically kind of have a gander at Trump and at Kevin McCarthy and I guess the debt ceiling. We'll see what comes out. Um, For those of you who might be interested in a private reading, I do have some openings next week and the weeks after that. I've got a fair bit of availability right now. So if you are interested, in the Dropbox below is the email address soulprint888 at gmail.com. Just send me a quick email and I will send you the information that you need to know. Alrighty, here we go. Let's see what the cards have to say. Look at this. Okay, so overview USA politics. Overview USA politics. Overview USA politics. There's a lot of sort of angry, volatile energy just in the world right now. You've got the whole Sudan thing going on. You've got people in Paris who are still on the streets protesting this increase in the retirement age. Um, you've got more mass shootings in the United States than anybody literally can wrap their brain around. Let's see what it has to say, shall we? Hmm. Maybe I'll bring the camera down this time. Come on down. I have a question. Put those there so you can see them. All right, here we go. The Emperor. Okay, that's a good start. Chariot, that's that chaotic feeling. Okay, so here we start. You can anticipate and expect that the people who are in office, who are doing the work, okay, so Biden, that nice lady who's in charge of the Treasury, whose name just escapes me. Um, they are going to be holding firm. Okay, this is not, you've got the emperor here. Okay, so they're dug in, and they're not going to allow Republicans to sort of try to run away with the cart here. What they're saying, frankly, doesn't make sense, and people are going to see it. I don't think that there's going to be a default, but I do think that it's going to get very, very close. And I also think that it is going to be the Republicans who bear the brunt of the um the blame for sort of the chaos, etc. This is going to play a little bit of havoc on the stock market, I think. And the reality is that it sort of feels as if the energy sort of as we enter and go into the first couple of weeks of May really does feel sort of chaotic. It feels like there's a lot going on. The news is changing and shifting all the time. It makes it sort of hard to keep up. McCarthy is going to be on the defense because the reality is this: he cannot deliver what the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Matt Gaetzes and the whoever else want. It's not going to happen. So he's going to be sort of taking incoming fire, if you will, from his own party. And publicly, the Republicans writ large, but particularly him, are going to be facing sort of a groundswell of sort of anger and resentment because this will be seen as a political ploy. Okay, it really, really will. They are trying to hold the United States sort of Treasury Department, I suspect, hostage. And for their own political gain, for their own political reasons, and I don't believe it's going to work. It's an interesting thing because in some ways it feels as if people of the United States, as we move through this month, for those who, I don't know, I almost want to say sort of haven't been paying attention, maybe, are going to start really taking a look. And part of what is sort of creating that kind of energy is you have the situation with guns and you have the situation with reproductive health. And what you're going to start hearing over and over and over again is there needs to be balance. This is ridiculous. There's going to be a real push for uh, a, a sort of a calming down. and a kind of coming back to center. And the problem is going to be that the Republicans do not want to come back to center. They want to stay on this extreme right. And it's not going to work for them because the chaotic energy that's going on right now is going to start dissipating. It really does feel like by the end of the month, things are almost going to be on a slightly different track. Okay, not a big, huge change, but a slightly different track. And what you're going to see is the Republican Party kind of continuing to lose ground as people are waking up and looking at this and going, why are we being controlled by, what is it, 15 to 20% of the evangelicals of the country? That's all they make up. Um, but yet they're trying to dictate how the other, you know, 80%, 85% live. And so this is going to start kind of stirring things up. It feels as if there's going to be more kind of eye-opening news on these sorts of fronts, and that is going to again put the Republican Party on the defense. And this is the thing that's so crazy is this whole situation with the whole abortion thing. This was kind of like the carrot that the Republicans have been dangling for 50 years, and they actually, it's not even a carrot. It's like the dog chasing the car, and the dog caught the car, and then they didn't know what to do, so they pushed so hard to make things as extreme as possible, both for abortions, both for guns, voting rights, gerrymandering, the whole thing. They're just pushing everything to the extreme, and it's not going to work. It's going to backfire. Right now you've got some red states trying to literally change um, things up so that, for example, students, university students, they're making they're going to try to make it really hard for them to vote because they understand that these are people who are opposed to gun violence. They're opposed to the whole abortion situation, and they're sick and tired of it. And so they don't want these people voting. Again, it's not going to work. It's going to feel as if things are going to start sort of bouncing back like a boomerang, coming back on the Republican Party. Where you're going to see some uh, sort of clarity about, not that there isn't clarity now about kind of the two sides and how they behave, but um, it's going to become more pronounced as the month unfolds, where you're going to see sort of the strength and the compassion, the clarity of the Democrats versus this sort of no holds barred, take charge, run over whoever you have to run over, just do what you have to do to get where you want to go kind of energy. And it's going to create sort of a real sense of how really different the parties the Republican Party in particular has become. And so you're going to see people starting to sort of question why they have gone so far right. You've also got the whole court situation. That's not going to be good. Okay. So it feels very much like as we're moving forward, there's going to be, I want to say, more information coming out that is going to continue to trigger um, a real almost groundswell for change. And this sort of feels like it's starting towards, I want to say kind of the 20-ish of May and going forward. There's just a sense that enough is enough and more is going to come out. I think that is just sort of a through line, right? I mean, more came out about Tucker Carlson, he's gone. More and more is coming out about the justices. The Senate is finally like sort of digging in their heels and starting to try to really investigate this publicly. And frankly, it's putting some heat on the justices. And I actually think that the Senate is going to do what they're going to do, but it feels like in some ways, almost behind the scenes, that maybe other judges are having a bit of an attitude with what the heck is going on and why the Supreme Court justices just seem to be above everything. And it flies in the face of the no man is above the law. So you've got that kind of dynamic going on in terms of the political arena, in terms of McCarthy, in terms of the debt ceiling. So look for continued volatility for the next couple of weeks, and then look for things just starting to level out a bit. And by level out, understand, I don't mean calm down. Um, I mean, more and more people finding their voice, more and more people saying enough is enough. There's going to be that kind of continued messaging here. You've got both the Knight and the Page of Wands. And so to me, it is about stuff coming out, communications. It's about, more um, exposés, if you will, and it really does feel as if the energy is sort of building towards a real push for sort of some resolution. A push to say, you know what, really enough. It's time for we the people to really, really get involved and start ramping it up. And it is going to, carry on for a while. All right. This is not going to keep and go away. This is going to keep building and building and building until it hits crescendo at, on the next election. The Republic, and listen, there's some information out there. Like the Republicans have the potential, they have more seats that are likely to flip. They have fewer seats that are up for grabs. So, going into it, it looks like the Republicans kind of are in a position of strength. But I kindly ask you to remember what happened in the midterms. It didn't matter that the Republicans were supposed to do well based on all of this other criteria. The reality is, people said, no, no, you're actually not going to continue to behave that way, and you're not going to continue to do things that we are really, really opposed to. All right, let's take a look at the former guy, because he's got a lot going on. You got Jack Smith doing a deep dive into the grip. Oh, pardon me, excuse me, the fundraising that was going on for a legal defense that never got mounted. You've got E. Jean Carroll just nailing it in that court proceeding. Her lawyer, no, sorry, the other, Trump's lawyer is just looking more and more like a bully. He's looking like he doesn't understand victims, and it's not playing well. It's not playing for the general public, and it's not playing well, I believe, for the jury. And of course, Trump has just skipped town, right? He's tootled off to Ireland or Scotland or something. And you know what? I don't think that there's any real reason why anybody has to be following that trip on the media. Nobody cares him getting off of a plane Ireland, his golf course, nobody cares. And it doesn't need to be monitored or watched. All right, here we go. May for Trump, May for Trump, May for Trump. Let's see where he's going and what he's got on his plate. Justice. Justice is the first card out. I think that tells you a fair bit. Um, Knight of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles. Okay, this is brilliant. So slowly but surely, justice is coming. Um, as the energy has clarified, um, it feels more and more like there's not going to be a settlement. There may be talk of one, but I think ultimately, Ms. Carroll, I think, will not take a settlement because, she wanted her day in court. That's what she wanted. But there is a sort of a basic understanding that in order to um, help Trump see clearly, the only real place that you can do that is in his pocketbook. And he is starting to get more and more concerned about money issues. And that is how come um, his bravado, his hyperbole about how successful his companies are, is sort of ratcheting up because he's expressing outwardly a fear. So I think in some ways the fundraising that Jack Smith is looking at, that's going to bear fruit. So that's like, wire fraud. Um, and ultimately, I think he's going to take multiple hits in his pocketbook. Now, um, I don't, it's not all going to happen in May, of course, but what you're going to see again is a buildup and a buildup. And he needs to watch out for women because they're going to cost him. It's as simple as that. Women are going to cost him. They are not going to be complacent and nurturing and um, caring. They are going to start hitting him where it hurts. Um, and you're going to continue to see that build up. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Okay. So he's not going to be quiet. But he is going to you're kinda gonna see a little bit sort of a retreat from him. He's not, right now, he's not in the country, but feels like in some ways he's kinda going underground, and make no mistake, behind the scenes, there is a great deal of static and friction going on. The lawyers are angry with him. His family is having a hard time kind of coping with how erratic he has become. The people in his immediate circle and his support systems are really, they're getting dragged in, subpoenaed left, right, and center. They have to give testimony to powerful situations. The courts are not protecting them. They have to testify. And, this is all ratcheting up the anxiety. So it's not just of him, but it's everybody around him. And, that just is creating a situation where more and more people are saying, you know what, I got to make a choice. And that choice appears to be being loyal to Trump or basically saving my bacon. And I think I need to save myself. And the judgments that are going to be coming down as a result of the investigations and the information that's going to be coming forward over the summer months is going to really um, it's not going the information that's coming, sorry, I'm trying to listen and speak at the same time. The information that is going to come out over the next couple of months, the early sort of summer months, um, is going to do nothing to benefit him and everything to kind of expose. He, he's struggling. He's struggling. It's all about money. Always is with him. Always about the money. He's, he's doing well in the polls, and that kind of is perking him up a little bit. He has apparently a town hall meeting coming with CNN. That's going to be interesting. I don't think that's going to be a cakewalk for him. In fact, I think some of his volatility is likely to be displayed in a way. This is the thing, right? He does easy interviews with, journalists who, are pandering to him, who are, kissing the ring. Um, and let's not forget, these things are not live. All right, they're pre-recorded, which means they're allowed to edit things out in such a way so that he comes across it in the best possible way. And if you think about some of those previous interviews he's done, and he still gets himself in a hell of a lot of hot water, what can you only imagine was on the cutting room floor? This town hall, I think, is going to be very, very um, interesting for him. The energy around him continues to spiral. It continues to feel like it's out of control. And there is a recognition of people around that um, he he is not what the Republican Party needs, but he is what the Republican Party has. Don't be surprised if you hear of more people pulling back, like big name donors pulling back. DeSantis has shot himself in the foot, so he's not viable. It'll be interesting to see who they sort of drag up next. But the reality is sort of this, and the pundits, they say it's, so succinctly. The Republican Party can't win with Trump, and the Republican Party can't win without Trump. So there you have it. For anybody who is getting nervous or anxious about how Trump's doing, the polls, don't worry. Just don't feed that, because honestly and truly, it's not going to matter in the grand scheme of things. He needs to be careful of female lawyers, because the news coming out from them is not going to be all that good. Okay, so I just want to take a moment and see if there's any sort of direct channeled information that they want me to pass on for you at this time. Understand that sort of the more chaotic or stressful things become, it is important that you kind of keep a level head, right? That you kind of breathe your way through some of this. It is going to shift. Um, if I was clever with astrology, I could probably tell you why, but I'm not. I can just feel the energy, and the energy tells me the first couple of weeks of May are going to be like a little bit like a bit of a roller coaster, but it feels as if things are kind of going to settle down as we move towards the end of May. By the time we get to the beginning of June, there's definitely a sense of, it's not calm, but it is a sense of controlled and focused direction. It is a sense that people are going to continue to come together and really push for what it is they want their company, their country to look like, act like, and present themselves like. And that's a good thing. Those powers that are trying so hard to control the whole country with their very strict belief structures are going to find that It's not that their voices aren't going to be heard because there's certainly going to be a whole bunch of politicians who still will bow to them, just like there's politicians who are still going to bow to the NRA. But what is happening is the light, okay, is amplifying and increasing. And truly, it's sort of going to be putting them in their place. It's going to be diminishing their voices. And, what's going to happen is, yeah, the politicians are going to listen to them, but those politicians are not going to get reelected again. There is definitely a real push and pull that is going on and going to continue to go on between blue and red states. And that's unfortunate because it's going to cause even more sort of a splitting apart. But in some ways, the blue states have to get just as tough as the red states. So in Washington State, I think the governor there has just passed a whole bunch of laws offering safe refuge to people seeking reproductive health care. Just set in motion a whole bunch of laws about access to guns and banning assault weapons. And you're going, and they're not the only state, but you're going to see more and more of that. You're going to see that kind of energy building because people are going to get really, really tired of people getting slaughtered in their homes, in their schools, at the mall, in their stores. People are going to get really, really tired of hearing crazy things like victims of rape need to carry that child full term. And that isn't the one that's really going to upset people, although that's horrible. But what you're going to start hearing is more and more stories of I almost died because I was denied the health care I needed. I had to carry a dead fetus, the tissue of a dead fetus, for weeks and weeks. Those are the kind of stories that are going to continue to really motivate and amplify people. So people kind of buckle up because things are going to start moving in a direction where we can start now to see the end of the road and the road we're traveling on and how we get to the goals we want. And so that is a super duper exciting, exciting thing. So let's embrace the light, embrace the positive, and put the lower vibrational energy in its place. We don't have to accept it, and I don't think we should. Okay, that's what I know for right now. Okay. Until next time, take it easy. Well, and we'll see you really soon.